So MJF comes out. This is oh boy, I'm gonna love what you see what you think of this, okay? Because I'm very opinionated. MJF comes out and he's getting, I'm not good with the cheap heat. However, it kind of worked this because he was getting a pretty much 100% babyface reaction here. Okay, so he comes out. And he basically told Albany to keep their fast mouth shut. He basically healed the crowd because because he was getting cheered. Okay, so I guess he's right. You got to. I'm making you got to. I guess when they're doing that, you got to shut them down. So I was fine with that, right? He said Moxley looked like a man that had no fear and that pissed him off. He said he wasn't the same man they were the last time they got in the ring together. MJF said Moxley's the one playing a character, not him. He mentioned reading his book and said he was just like these people, a filthy white trash loser from the sticks. MJF told Moxley that he took and built a great character, and that's why these morons cheer for you every week. And MJF said he knew deep down that he was still the same scared little boy from the slums of Cincinnati, but now he's old enough to drown his childhood trauma in alcohol. He gave him credit for beating his disease, but said his brain is more dangerous than his disease. MJF continued to say the same applies to Danielson or Jericho. Bad things happen to people who get in his way, and he made sure to let the crowd know that it was his title. MJF recalled Moxley describing a demon who told him he didn't deserve anything he had earned since he left the slums of Cincinnati. And he told Moxley that if he isn't careful, he'd find out that MJF is in fact that demon and that he is not one that is easily slain. All right, I'm going to give you that. So that's that's basically his promo. Okay, but I want to talk about that part of the promo until we get to this next thing. He's kind of giving this promo is basically setting up that he's assuming that Moxley's going to win the title. Did you find that bizarre here a little bit? Yeah, I don't. It's like it's like they're telling everybody they know how this ends, and I'm like, that's a weird tone that he would take as a character. Now, if you're assuming you don't know what's going to happen next, you know what I'm saying? So I would have framed the verbiage a little bit differently. That just Moxley, if you get that title, you and I, or maybe I want you, regardless if you win the title. Because he set up an angle here with Moxley, and Moxley's in this title tournament. He hadn't won the belt yet, which I thought was a weird, tone of the interview. Do you agree with that?
Yes, and I also, as you know, we're both big MJF fans, and his promos. This was not one of his better promos. I just felt he did a lot of screaming and cheap heat.
Right.
But you brought up a good reason why.
Right.
And I know it's hard to always deliver a good promo.
Right.
But there's
not a lot of substance here because he's talking about his angle coming up with Moxley, but the guy's he hasn't even won the belt yet. So I was like, all right, whatever. So, all right. So
Konnan, let me ask you real quick, and I don't think Disco answered this before, but when we first heard about the tournament, Konnan, you said that you put the belt on Bryan. Is that still the way you feel, or would you maybe go with Mox based off his performances?
You know what? Maybe this is set up for what's his name screwing Moxley over so Bryan wins the belt.
They need some kind of story for it, yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right. So then MJF turns his attention to our boy Stokely Hathaway and said he had more talent in his little finger than you pieces of have in your entire bodies. He then introduced them as the Firm. Stokely entered the ring with W. Morrissey, Ethan Page, Lee Moriarty, Austin Gunn, and Colton Gunn, who, with the exception of Page and Morrissey, were all acting and overacting like indie guys, is about the best way I could describe it, right? But the best part of this is Stokely grabbed the mic and then MJF just got out. Bro, there's no way MJF was going to stand in the ring with that crew and be associated with it. He just left. Okay, so which was smart, right? Did you agree with that?
I didn't look at that, but if that's what happened, so that's funny.
He just left. Okay, right. So that's all these guys are in the ring, like the B team, right?
Right.
So all right, so bro, this was like the longest interview in the history of professional wrestling, right? That I couldn't wait for it to end. Okay. Stokely said this will be one of the rare times they are seen together because when they aren't MJF's support system, they'll go their separate ways. He describes himself not as a publicist or a manager. He's a friend with connections to get things done. Stokely said he does his best work when he's hanging out and listening because blackmail is what wakes him up in the morning. Stokely went through his crew and spoke about their desires. He said he knows Morrissey wants respect and told him that he would get it and that he loves him. And then he hugged him and Morrissey no-sold it. And then he hugged him again and then Morrissey sold it. Stokely then told Lee Moriarty that he would restore honor to the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. He told the Guns they would stake out territory of their own away from their broke-ass daddy. Stokely said that he's known Ethan Page for 10 years and been both bitter enemies and friends, and he said he knows he wants to represent his beautiful country of Canada and win the All-Atlantic Championship. And basically, that's I don't know why MJF has to be associated with this group at all. This is like these are guys that they're going to be wrestling for the Ring of Honor belts and stuff, is what it sounds like, and that's like that's the deal. What do you think of this?
You would think the way I talk about Stokely, I hate him. I don't know him, so I'm just stating, not hating. But bro, long-winded, non-entertaining. He doesn't look like a boss. There's no alpha about him. He's very short.
Right.
You know, he doesn't command respect. He doesn't seem like the sharpest. Like,
He's got a high-pitched voice a little bit.
Yeah, you don't go away thinking, wow, what a real smart guy. And, bro, they have a penchant for sticking the most random people together. As a shoot, nobody in that group except for the two brothers looked like they hung out with each other, okay? Right. First of all, Morrissey looked like a homeless Kevin Nash. I mean, he was just standing there.
Right, he did, yeah.
Like he was on meth or some with a stringy hair, you know. The guns were kind of acting like Ethan Page needs nobody to talk for him. You know, and he's interested in the Atlantic title, by the way, just so you know. That,
right.
You know.
I'll let you. So this is what I was watching.
Why wouldn't you be interested in the world title? Yeah.
When I was watching this, and like they were coming to the ring, and they were all dressed like the gun guys had their shirts off. you know, the Page had like the shirt buttoned down to the belly.
Right.
You know, I would say, bro, this is like somebody told them, "Hey, let's go out and do the maximum male model gimmick, and we're going to show them how to do it."
Okay, but let me ask you a question.
It's like a watered down version of
Ethan Page look like he hung out with anybody in that group?
Of course not. He shouldn't be associated with
anybody. Did the
anybody.
Ass Boys look like they hung out with anybody in that group?
No.
Nobody looked like they hung with just the two brothers. That was it.
Let me ask you a question. When you're watching them, who are your eyes diverted to mostly? Like who sticks out in that? I'd say Ethan Page.
Maybe the Austin Gunn brothers.
The Gunn, I think Page sticks out.
No, well, Page is the star. He got the biggest pop, and he's the star, and you don't need nobody talking for him. You don't need to be no whack faction. Right. That's already. But I'm looking usually at the Austin boys because they make me laugh. Because they're just acting like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. I can see them doing a promo one day and like they just get aggravated with Stokely Hathaway. Yeah. And the Morrissey guy picks him up over his head and just throws him out of the ring, and Page takes the mic and conducts the rest of the interview. You know?
And let me tell you, I like the Guns, bro. I can't believe they haven't found anything for them because they're very entertaining.
Right.
Yeah. Yo, what up? This is Konnan, and I host Keeping It 100 with my co-host, Disco Inferno, unfortunately.
Well, I'd say you're my co-host.
Listen, every Thursday here on Spreaker, we talk pro wrestling, sports, movies, music, TV, pop culture, and some politics. It's everything the rest of the pro wrestling podcasts are not.
Tune in to hear myself, the superior one, educate and inform.
Tune in to hear me bury Disco.
That's very disrespectful.
Join us every Thursday on Spreaker and keep it 100. Boom!